Hi, I'm Micah from Scamp Trailers. I'm here to show you your new trailer. If you would, just follow me around the trailer. I'll explain a few things to you. We always start with the entry door here. The entry door is one of the things that gets used the most often. Operation of this is pretty simple. Pull the latch, you're able to shut. The most confusing part and questions that we do get is this lock. There's two keys sections right here. This one is to lock the handle to not let the paddle move open, and this one is for the deadbolt. So your door handle has a deadbolt and you can lock the handle at the same time. Top one right here, vertically, it is unlocked. All right, this one spins 90 degrees. So if we turn it, I can actually grab the keys. So you can see here, the key is vertical. If I turn, this one only turns 90 degrees. So if I turn it 90 degrees like that, that is in the locked position. The key will remove. We cannot open the paddle. And then vertically like that, it is unlocked. You're able to open it. The deadbolt, however, moves 180 degrees. So you can go, that is engaging the deadbolt, so that is pushing the bolt into the striker. You can return it back to the middle or vertically, and it will not move the deadbolt. So if we go to unlock this, we'll insert our key, it's vertical. I'm gonna go all the way towards the front of the trailer, and I'm gonna bring it back to the middle, and now it is unlocked. The paddle will still function, but won't allow you to open the door with the deadbolt engaged. So here we got our hold back. This is a stainless steel version, so you will not have to worry about rusting or anything like that. It's a very simple operation. It's the old T handle slot, so you would shut the door, insert your T handle until it falls, and there it is latched and locked to where the door cannot fly open or slam against the trailer in a windy situation. Marker lights, we keep amber in front, and then we do red in the back, and that follows the NATM rules and regulations. We'll just keep moving along the trailer. Our terminology that we use, we call this a coupler. So this coupler is what attaches to your tow vehicle. It is a 2-inch coupler, so that means you have a 2-inch ball that will be needed on your tow vehicle's hitch in order to hook up to this trailer. All of our trailers come standard with a 7-pin RV style plug. This is used to run your marker lights, your tail lights, brakes if you have them, and your power wire in order to operate and tow this trailer correctly. Safety chains. Safety chains are here. We can get into that later when we go to hooking and unhooking. This, we offer two options. We offer single and dual tanks. This particular trailer has a single tank option. So with this single tank option, you have your regulator here. You got your quick disconnect, your LP tank. So in order to operate the gas, you always got to make sure that this valve is always turned all the way to the left or counterclockwise to open it, and to close it to the right or clockwise. Battery box is located here. We have a strap on top of this battery box to keep the lid from flying off. We also do have an inline fuse on there. If nothing 12 volts in your trailer works, always make sure you come inside this battery box and check that thing out. If your battery's low on draw or anything, that would be a common thing that you would see, to have that fuse blown, resulting in nothing working at all. And then if you follow me back around here, right here we do have the storage. We have a storage location for your 7-way to keep corrosion down or any other issues from happening. It's very simple. Just insert into this plug, and there you're prepped for storage. That way water keeps out of your end or anything like that. This unit right here is your breakaway switch. So in a result of an accident or a result of a mistake, if the trailer does happen to come disattached from the tow vehicle, that will engage your brakes and lock them up and stop the trailer from free rolling down the road. So that's what those items are. Standard, we have an LP light. So if you do have to do any maintenance or any changes in the night or at dark, we do offer that as a standard option. So we'll keep moving around here. We'll just quickly touch on a couple of things here. If your trailer is equipped with a bathroom, your dump, the black tank is what we call that, or your sewage holding tank. That is always typically located in the front of the trailer or towards the front of the trailer. We keep our black and gray tanks separate so you can dump them separately. There are aftermarket pieces that you can hook them together and only use one sewer hose, but currently, as they're coming from the factory, you have to dump them separately. So if you look down here, this, you can see we have it labeled here. So this is symbolizing that this is the black water tank. This termination valve right here is how you would dump your black tank. You would take your cap off here, you would insert your hose, twist your hose back onto the bayonet fitting, run your hose over to your clean out or your dump site, and you'd be able to pull the termination valve, and that's how you would empty your black water tank. This is a venting for the black tank so it can get air. These two vents right here are for your refrigerator. So the refrigerators that we have are three ways. They're 12 volt, they're 120, and they're LP or propane. And they require adequate venting in order to operate correctly in high temperatures or high ambient temperatures. We'll come back to that in a little bit here. This right here, this is a furnace vent. This is the exhaust and intake for the furnace. If you got little kids, you want to look out to having them accidentally touch that if that's in operation. That vent does get very hot. You'll notice here we got the city water connection. City water connection would be as if you're at a campsite or campground where they do offer garden hose hookup. You're able to hook up to that location and you would not need to use your onboard freshwater tank. This is your hot water heater. This right here is your 30 amp inlet. So that's where you would plug your trailer in. You got a little trap door here that you're able to pop up. Currently, from the factory, it comes with a 30 amp plug on it. Every trailer standardly comes with a 3015 adapter, so you can plug it into your normal house outlet. For storage purposes, you would always have your lid down to avoid keeping water from coming into your trailer. And then earlier we were talking about your gray water. This is the location of the gray water dump. This is where you would dump your gray water. Same principle as the black water tank. Twist your cap off, twist your hose back on, pull the plunger, and that's how you would dump your gray water tank. Now, something that we have changed and upgraded to is we are now mounting our sewer hose carriers underneath the trailer, and that's standard on any package trailer that does have a bathroom or a gray water tank. This is where the new location for the sewer hose carriers are. Just a basic twist your cap off, there's your sewer hose. We felt it was more of a clean location to put items and you didn't have to have it on the front of your trailer. We'll keep going around here. So something new for 2021 is LED tail lights, LED marker lights, as you've seen earlier. That's something we're pretty tickled with. We also offer this in the second tail light package, so you can get your second tail lights up here. Your lefts operate the same as your rights. The receiver hitches are standard now. The second tail light option is really nice for if you're having a cargo carrier in the back or bikes, drivers behind you can still see your tail lights and see that you're turning or braking. These down here at each location on the left and the right, those are your leveling jacks. So instead of the old stab jack style, we went to they actually call it a C style leveling jack. There's a crank handle inside. It's very simple. I can grab that quick and give you a look at it. Okay, so we store these jack handles. This comes standard with every one of our trailers. We store these jack handles inside of one of the closet, depending on which layout you do get. But the handle does look like this. You can cut this off and insert it into a drill. You want to be careful not to strip out some of the gears in it, but that is an option. So cranking these up and down is very simple. You can see there's similar to a hex head style bolt, there's a little bolt on top here, and it's the same for the left and right. So you're able to put this jack handle onto here, and I believe you go twist until it comes back down. And you can operate these individually in case you're on unlevel ground. You know, these jacks are not designed to be an emergency jack to crank the whole trailer up. These jacks are simply designed to stabilize the trailer and level it, not to change a tire. That's something that's commonly misunderstood, but that's what these are for, is just to stabilize it so the trailer, when you're laying down in bed and you're rolling and turning, the trailer's not bouncing on you. So I can crank this one back up for you, give you a little look at that. These are one of the most common things to get left down, I see. They get left down and the customer takes off. I'm guilty of it. I have forgotten that in the past. But that's something before your pre-trip inspection. That's a number one I would say you need to make sure you check before you take off. So we got our spare tire here. This right here, this is your gravity flow. I know earlier we talked about the city water on the driver's side. That little fill port right there is your gravity hatch. So what that is, you can twist this cap off, and what it reveals is kind of just a hollow port. A garden hose still fits inside of that port, and that's how you would dump or fill your fresh water tank. Now, all of our trailers, if you do have water, come with a 12-gallon fresh water tank. So you can get 12 gallons in there. You can either pour it in there, dump it in there, or stick a garden hose on the end of it. There's a little breather tube that comes out here, and that's how you can tell when your tank's full. It'll start shooting out of there, and you know the tank's full. I'll put this cover back on this hatch, and we'll go. I will show you an option that we do have is this awning. All right, this is an Italian brand. It's made by Fiamma. It's very easy. What it is a self-contained awning, a manual one. So I'll grab the crank handle for you here. I'll show you how to open this. So your handle looks like this. It has a hook on one end, and then it has these pivoting sections for handles. And it's really nice for storage because you can have it straight, or I can turn it into the crank model. Straight, or we're ready to crank. It's kind of slick, it makes it really nice for storage. So you'll take the hook side, we're going to insert it into this port right here. We'll insert that into there, and we'll start cranking, all right? If it doesn't come out, don't push it or force it, just go the other way. There's a good chance that you're going the wrong way. So we're going to crank it out, and usually what I tell customers is crank it out until you can successfully reach the arms with no issue. Because this is a self-contained one, if you come over here and take a look this way, I'll show you the legs. These legs, they're self-contained, so they're built into the casing of the awning, okay? So they actually pop out of the casing. One thing to look for, and this is 90% of the time that when they do get damaged, this part right here, if this piece doesn't get popped out all the way, all right, let's say it goes there and I go to pull it down, you can see how it's going to add tension and it breaks that piece. So make sure that that's popped out, all right? This trailer's new, it pops out really easy. When you travel down dirt roads, you get dust in there, it comes out harder. So always make sure that that's pulled out like that. So your leg will pivot down. If you look over here, I got a little wing nut right here, and what that does is it releases the inner leg so you can adjust the height of your awning. So I'm going to twist that just enough to loosen it up. I'm going to drop that down to the ground. It doesn't have to be perfect right now. We're just trying to get the awning out. I'm going to tighten it back up, and then we're going to leave that leg. So the same thing's going to happen on this side, okay? Again, remember to make sure that this knuckle comes all the way out of the plastic housing, like so. You can pivot the leg down, and then again we have this wing nut on the other side here. We loosen up, we drop that down to the ground, and we tighten it up. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're not looking to level it right now. We're just looking to get the awning out. Once you've got your legs out, you can continue to crank the awning out. Now I like to go about 2 foot or until you think the legs are going to tip over, and then I'll come back over and I'll readjust them. Okay, I'll maybe tip them forward just a little bit. And then I'll continue to crank again. Okay, and right there you'll notice that the canvas loosened up and is just laying on top of the rafter arm, so I'm going to back it up just a little bit to tighten it up. What that does is keeps your canvas tight. If you have it loose, water is going to pool on there, and that's going to add some weight issues. You know, you don't want to sit here and challenge the awning's truss arms. So now you can go ahead at this time, you can move your legs, you can adjust the heights. If you want to sit under the awning here and not have the sun in your eyes, you can adjust it down. Inside of every one of our new trailers that gets an awning, these awnings come with bracket kits, and they also come with stakes. Like stakes you can pound into the ground to keep these legs from flying away in the wind or moving from people bumping into them. So we don't install any of that stuff, we just include it inside your packet of paperwork and inside the trailer. So takedown of these is exactly the same, just a little bit in reverse. So I'm gonna roll it back in. I went the wrong way. So I'm gonna go back in, and I'm just going to keep going until you're about 3 foot, 4 foot, or until you can reach the casing here is where I'm gonna go to. So I'm gonna loosen this leg. I'm going to pull that inner leg up all the way. I'm going to tighten that back up. I'm going to make sure that this foot is clipped in like that so it'll still go back into the casing the correct way and still fit. I'll insert that back into the casing here, and then I'll just give it a little snap. Now you heard that snap. If you look right here, there's this little plastic bracket that these legs are actually popping into. And that bracket is what is holding the legs in. So that's real important that you hear that snap. If you don't hear that snap, when you go to put your awning back in, I feel that your awning is going to be stuck out about a ½ inch. So then we'll do this other side. We're going to loosen this inner leg up. We're going to move it all the way up to the top. And then we're going to make sure that this foot is folded in. We're going to come up. And there we heard the snap again. I know that those awning legs are stored correctly. And then I'll just continue to crank until this awning is all the way back in. And just like that. And then I would go and put my awning rod back inside the trailer, wherever that storage place may be for you. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to operate your refrigerator. This particular model is a 1.9 cubic foot refrigerator. This one's going to take 2 of the smaller vents, okay? This top one is strictly for venting only, and this bottom one is the access panel where you can control the fridge. You can switch from 12 volt to 120 volt to gas. So if you take a close look at these right here, these little guys are the buttons that keep the door in its place while you're traveling down the road. Notice that the line is horizontal and it's not vertical. Both of them are horizontal. That's in the locked position. Now to open these, we simply take a flathead screwdriver, any kind of coin works or anything that you can get fitted into here. If you have strong fingernails, you could probably do it with that. We're going to turn these vertical. That's really an important thing. We're going to turn those vertical, and then we're actually going to grab a hold of the vent, and it's kind of a pulling motion where you're taking it and you're flipping it up, okay? So I'm just going to pull out like that, All right, you'll notice these tabs right here go up inside like so to get it put back together. So once you do have this vent out, you'll notice here you got some controls and some switches. Now, so this side right here, this red switch and the dial, that is for your gas operation. Okay, this dial and this switch are for your 120 volt ignition or operation. So 120 volts is the house current, or same current as your house. This red switch right here is for 12 volt. So to operate this on gas, what we would do, you can see a triangle here, and that's pointing towards off. What we'll do is I'm going to push that in, and I'm actually going to turn it to high. At that time, I'm going to push down on this, and this releases more LP or gas into this lighting chamber here. It does come with a piezo lighter, so I usually try to hit it 1, 2, and 3 while holding this other piece down. I'll hit it 3 times, and then I'll check to see inside this door to see if the flame is lit. Now, this flame is blue. If you're outside, it is a little tricky to see outside because of the small flame. Now, I recommend starting your fridge on high, lighting it on high, and keeping it on high until the refrigerator gets to your desired temperature. Once that happens, you can back it down to medium or low if you so choose. That's how you operate it on LP. So to shut it off, you simply twist the dial until the arrow is going to the off position, and that will shut the propane off. Now, this middle section right here, it's a little trickier to see, but there's an arrow on this side of the dial, and you'll notice this dial has numbers 1 through 7. Now, in this case, 7 is the coldest, and 1 is the warmest. So you can see that the arrow is pointing towards 7 right now, so it's on the max temperature. You simply make sure that your trailer is plugged into 120 volts or your house current, and you simply plug it in, turn your switch to the on position. The little line is the circle is off. So that's as simple as that. There's no lighting on 120. There's virtually no noise as well. One way to check if you're not sure if this refrigerator is working on 120, this stack right here, this chimney, will be kind of lukewarm. You'll be able to feel that chemical reaction is happening. So to shut off the 120, we would simply hit the circle down, and it is off. Now you'll notice that we do have a red switch here for 12 volt. The 12 volt is for emergency only. This specific model, the 12 volt on here is emergency only. It'll drain your battery very fast if you leave it on there. Depending on what voltage your battery is at, it will probably kill a full battery in about 7 hours. So really this 12 volt is designed if you ran out of propane, you gotta go run to the grocery store quick, grab a fill of propane, or you gotta go run and grab gas for the generator. That's what that's for. Now, to use this, you simply hit the line and it'll go. There's no dial, there's no setting to it. It'll just perform off of what kind of voltage it does have. Now, one important thing too with these refrigerators is we talked about the gas, we talked about the 120 volts, we talked about the 12 volt, is to only run one fuel source at a time. If you run 2 at a time, you're going to damage the refrigerator. So make sure you're only doing 1 at a time. So now we're going to put our door back in. To pop these back in, it's very simple to just push them back in. You can do it with your finger, you can do it with your screwdriver. I'm going to take my screwdriver and notice that they're vertical. We're going to turn those horizontal, and that's what's locking that into place. So horizontal. And that's how you light and ignite your refrigerator. All right, so we'll move to the inside of your trailer here with, this is what your refrigerator is going to look like from the inside. So you're going to have this little latch right here. This is your traveling latch. So this is the #1 thing that we sell to customers with this refrigerator is you accidentally leave it locked, you try to pull, it breaks this plastic piece. So always make sure that this piece is pointing towards the back of the trailer and it releases it. All right. Now in this latch here, this is a magnetic strip inside of there, so it goes just like your home refrigerator would. Although while bouncing down the road, if you latch it, you can ensure that the door is going to stay closed and you're not going to have pops or something rolling around the whole trailer. So now on the inside here, we're going to talk about a few of these items right here. This thermostat right here is controlling your furnace. All right, so it's a heat only thermostat. It does not control the AC, it controls the furnace only. So it's as simple as there's a toggle switch on the bottom. It's basically on or off. And then there's a up and down buttons where you can adjust your temperature. The furnace here is 12 volt. The fan is 12 volt, the ignition is 12 volt, but it is fueled by propane. So you need to have battery power as well as you need to have propane in your tanks. So that's one common misconception that we do get is the confusion between 12 volt and propane. So it needs both to operate. Okay, so moving over here, this right here is your freshwater pump switch. This turns it on, and this one turns it off. All of your water in this trailer, if you are pulling out of your fresh water tank, you have to use your onboard pump. The onboard pump, you flip this on, the onboard pump will pressurize your kitchen sink as well as it'll pressurize your toilet, it'll pressurize your shower. So that needs to be on if you are trying to pull water out of your freshwater tank and use any of the water systems. Now, if you are using a garden hose and you're connecting via city water or at your campsite with a garden hose, you do not need to use this pump. You're actually using the campgrounds pump, or as the terminology goes, you'll be using the city's pump. So you use this only if you need to pull out of your onboard freshwater tank. Do not need to use it if you're hooked up to city water. Right here, these are the charging stations. This is also a new for 2021 options. You're going to have your USBs. Now these are powered by 12 volts, so battery power. Battery power runs these. You got 2 USB sockets, and then you have a 12 volt socket, or the cigarette lighter style socket. And again, these need battery power to operate. They work great for charging cell phones, electronics, you name it. This over here, this is a 120 volt outlet. So this is like house power. So that does not run off the battery. This runs off your 30 amp cord that you're gonna plug your trailer into. So it uses house current to do that. So 120 volt, and this is 12 volt. House power and battery power. All of our lights inside of here, they're all LED. They're the warm lumen colored. So you don't get a white light or blue light. They all have individual switches on each one of them. This switch right here runs your hot water heater. With this switch, you'll have you'll have the actual switch here, and then you have an indicator light. So when I flip that down, you'll notice that this light is lit up. And that is signaling that the water heater is not lit. Okay, it takes about, once you flip that switch, it takes about 10 seconds for it to run through its cycle and then actually try to light. Once it's lit, just like that, the light will go out when it's trying to ignite. So I will hit it off right here. The water heater will try to light 3 times. If it doesn't light 3 times, it'll actually go on a timed out where you just need to cycle it off and then on again. Most of the times when that does happen, it is either you're out of propane or you got battery issues. The water heater is the same thing where you need to make sure that you have propane and battery power.
The rooftop air conditioner operates only on 120 volts. There are two knobs on the air conditioner. One knob controls the temperature and the other knob controls the power and fan speed. There is an optional heat setting on the red dot. For just the fan, position the knob to the black side. If you want to run cooling, turn the knob toward the blue area. There are 3 fan settings, either low, medium, or high. A higher setting will result in a cooler temperature. The knob acts as a thermostat. The more you turn the knob into the blue area, the colder your AC will be set. There are also several vents to help control the airflow to various areas of your Scamp. There are down vents that can be opened or closed, and there are also 4 other vents, one on each side of the AC unit.
This is the max fan right here. That is powered by 12 volts, which is also battery power. The cool feature about this, this max fan option is you can run it by the buttons on the actual fan itself, and you can also run it by the remote. That we do not mount them for you. You can pick the location that you want. Most of the time they're going to be stored in one of the storage cabinets, so then you can mount it of your preference. In a power outage, this is a manual turn fan, so you always can have it shut if you want to, even in a power outage. So there is a rain shield built onto this, so it's motorized, and when it does lift up, you will be able to operate this fan while it's raining or going down the road. You can do the same functions from the actual fan as you can with the remote. It's got 10 speeds, it goes in, out, and it's also thermostatically controlled if you want it to be. So that is the fan. So something that we added new for 2021 models is a voltmeter. So each one of our trailers comes standard with a voltmeter. And what it's doing is it's monitoring your voltage of your battery. So in a sense, it's telling you how much charge that your battery does have that you can use for battery power, running your water heater, running your furnace, running your max fan, any items like that. With this voltmeter, it has a digital readout, which it's reading currently at 12.1, and then it also has a color gauge at the top round section of it. Red is signaling that your battery would be dead, orange is moderate, and when this thing is charging, you'll notice green bars going over there. So something to keep in mind is 12.5 to 12.6 is a fully charged 12 volt battery. When it's charging, our converters are throwing out 13.6 volts, and your voltmeter will jump up to 13.6, 13.5 depending on what kind of workload it's on. So that digital readout there is kind of just similar to your fuel gauge in your tow vehicle. It'll give you a rough idea where you're at, whether you should charge. Make sure you get the trailer plugged in before you go off on a trip, or if you're going to be okay. All right, so gas stove top. There are 2 burners here. This is the only LP appliance that is direct vented into the cabin. So this is something you want to be very careful with, making sure while you're traveling your propane tanks are turned off like I showed you earlier in the video. You also want to make sure that these valves are always turned off. You do not want LP coming into the cabin. This is one of the most dangerous ones. But it's also, with being dangerous, it's also very simple to operate. You have 2 knobs over here. It's basically the same similar style as the refrigerator. These knobs will push in. You would turn your knob all the way to high or light, and then you would take a long handled lighter and light each burner. This one is a manual burner. And some of our upgraded options, we do have electronic ignition ones with a glass stove top. So another thing that we added new for this coming year here is a battery disconnect, or house master switch, I've seen it called. What it does is it will, all the power from your battery, all of those wires go directly to our fuse panel. And sometimes if the kids accidentally leave something plugged in, a cell phone charger, or if you left the max fan on accidentally and forgot about it, what this would do is this would ultimately cut all power off to any of the 12 volt appliances to make sure that you're not having issues. That way when you're done with the trailer, you can legitimately cut this switch off your battery in theory should hold its charge, and you come back a couple weeks later, you should still have ample battery power. So this lid right here, we chose one that is concealed where you can open the lid up so you're not hitting it with your shin or accidentally kicking it off with your foot. And you have a turnkey style right here. So when you are going horizontal, like the key is right now, that is cutting all battery power off to the panel. So when you have it in the vertical position, that is allowing the battery to fuel the panel and send any 12-volt power to your lights, appliances, whatever have you. Now, one thing to keep in mind with this though, if you are trying to charge your battery with the converter, you need to have this switch on. That is one thing that you do got to make sure of. If you're going to plug your trailer in, make sure that this switch is in the vertical position. If it's in this position, the horizontal position, the converter will power all of your 12-volt appliances, lights for the trailer, but it will not charge the battery.
The shower operates just like it does at home, as long as you're connected to city water anyway. But if you're not, you will need to make sure the demand pump is turned on near the sink cabinet. Then, as you shower, you will need to turn on the water pump to remove the gray water from the shower area. There's a switch that controls the pump to the right of the toilet in the side bath model and to the left of the shower controls in the front bath model. This pump should only be operated while showering, not left on continually. The shower operates by turning the water on at the shower valve. The left control is for hot water and the right control is for cold water. The volume control is on the shower handle itself. The toilet is a marine-style toilet and doesn't have a large volume of water in it like a traditional toilet. To add water to the toilet, lift the flush lever until the desired water level is achieved. You will not need to use much water unless you are flushing solids. To flush, push the lever all the way down for 5 to 6 seconds. Release the flush lever and allow it to snap back in order to properly seal the flush ball. A small amount of water will remain in the bowl. RV tissue should be used to prevent clogging. Do not let the toilet freeze without winterizing.
So thank you for choosing Scamp Trailers. We hope you enjoyed this video. For more information, you can look us up on our website, www.scamptrailers.com. On there we do have how-to videos with more information. Check us out on Facebook, like it, share anything that we put on there. And thanks for watching.